Hello, all you freedom-loving people. Welcome to another episode of Front Page. I'm your host, Scott Cameron Goulet. After a short break of 2 days, Tucker Carlson tweeted a short speech, sharp, wise, strong, and full of faith. This is what fans love about Tucker Carlson. Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, scored a big win in the House of Representatives. This gives him some leverage to negotiate with Biden on the debt ceiling. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson has officially announced his candidacy for president. He had called on President Trump to withdraw from the race and to give his seat to another candidate, but this goal is expected to be impossible to achieve. Disney is suing the Florida government for retaliation, but Governor DeSantis believes that this lawsuit is a political show. Why should a company have the legal right to run its own government or to maintain privileges that other businesses don't have? And a bombshell whistleblower testified before Congress claiming that the government is complicit in child trafficking. HHS is handing over children to sponsors who are unchecked and who are criminals and child traffickers. Okay, let's get into it. Finally, Tucker Carlson has addressed America in his first talk since leaving Fox News. Tucker Carlson broadcast his video on Wednesday night in his usual 8 p.m. time slot, when he would usually be addressing the nation on the Tucker Carlson Tonight Show, but this time it was from his Twitter account.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated.
He then mentioned that big topics like war, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, and natural resources get virtually no discussion at all. While he said that it's been a long time since he heard a real debate about these issues, he claimed that both America's main political parties and their donors actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. He noted that the parties picked what Americans would talk about based on what benefits the colluding parties. He also related this consensus to a one-party state, which some conservative activists call the uniparty. However, Tucker believes that it won't be permanent.
Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work.
He again emphasized that the truth is contagious. The more you tell the truth, the stronger you become, and vice versa.
When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail.
Tucker concluded his message with a call to hope.
Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
Tucker Carlson also issued his first public comments on Wednesday while appearing outside his Florida home with his wife driving a golf cart. He joked to the Daily Mail that retirement is going great so far, and upon being asked about his future plans, Tucker again joked, saying that I haven't eaten dinner with my wife on a weeknight in 7 years. In the meantime, compelling speculations about Tucker Carlson's departure continue. There's a rumor that a lawsuit that was filed by a former producer, Abby Grossberg, may have been one of the reasons Grossberg claimed that Tucker fostered a toxic work environment where producers allegedly would make vulgar jokes. However, a Fox News spokesperson told news outlets that the company will continue to vigorously defend Fox against Ms. Grossberg's unmeritorious legal claims, which are riddled with false allegations against Fox and her employees. Meanwhile, invitations continue to come in for Tucker Carlson. In the latest offer, Elon Musk suggested that Twitter could be a platform where he could prosper. This comes after Grit Capital founder and CEO Genevieve Roche-Decter suggested that Musk could hire Tucker and start a video service. Dechter tweeted, Tucker Carlson leaves Fox, Don Lemon leaves CNN, BuzzFeed News shuts down, NBC Universal CEO steps down. The media landscape is shifting fast. Twitter and Elon Musk are set to become the new frontier. He added, Elon Musk should hire Tucker Carlson and start a video service to compete with YouTube. However, Elon Musk had another idea. Musk replied, or we don't hire anyone, but simply enable content creators to prosper on this platform without applying censorship that goes beyond the law. Tucker's Twitter video generated more than 3.3 million viewers overnight. This is while Fox News Tonight, the show that is replacing Tucker's time slot, drew just 2.6 million viewers on Monday. This is about a 20% drop. However, Fox News Tonight ratings plunged even more on Tuesday. The show on Tuesday brought in 1.7 million viewers, which is about half of what Tucker Carlson's nightly viewership was. The most concerning part for Fox is that the Fox News Tonight show ranked third among advertisers in the critical age group. Before Tucker's departure, he regularly led cable news in that demographic. At the same time, Fox Corporation has seen its shares plummet by about 3.75% over the past 5 days. On Wednesday evening, the House voted to raise the debt ceiling and to cut spending, giving House Speaker Kevin McCarthy the biggest win of his term so far. The bill passed by a narrow margin of 217 votes to 215. As expected, every Democrat voted against the bill, as did 4 Republicans, including Andy Biggs of Arizona, Tim Burchett of Tennessee, Ken Buck of Colorado, and Matt Gaetz of Florida. The bill represents the Republican Party's position on how to avoid a debt crisis in the coming weeks. Biden has refused to accept anything other than a radical increase in the debt ceiling. Meanwhile, the Republicans insist that the president should agree to federal budget cuts as a condition for raising the government's borrowing limit.
Republicans just passed the only bill in Washington that lifts the debt limit, ends wasteful Washington spending, and puts America back on the right economic path. That we're going to limit the growth in the future. We're going to save by pulling back this unspent COVID money. We're going to grow this economy by making us energy independent again and getting more people, encouraging them back to work. The sad part here is now the Democrats need to do their job. The president can no longer ignore by not negotiating. Senator Schumer, if he thinks he's got a plan, put it on the floor. See if you can pass it, and then we can go to conference. But now, the president can no longer put this economy in jeopardy. We lifted the debt limit. We've sent it to the Senate. We've done our job, the only body in here that's done theirs. The Senate, I got to give them credit. They did name March Maple Syrup Month, and they have thanked UConn and congratulated them for their basketball win. But they've done nothing when it comes to the economy or the debt limit.
The 320-page bill would limit federal spending to 2022 levels and raise work requirements for federal benefits, among other measures. Republicans also proposed to block the Biden student loan forgiveness, to repeal the green energy tax credit, and to eliminate the new IRS funding program as a part of the Inflation Reduction Act. The bill would also introduce new proposals to give Congress more power to end executive branch oversight. The bill would also accelerate new oil drilling projects and would eliminate bailout funding for the COVID-19 outbreak. With a slim Republican majority in the House, McCarthy could only lose up to 4 Republican votes, as Democrats usually vote according to party lines. McCarthy told reporters on Wednesday morning that he expected to vote that day, but he did not say whether he had the 218 votes, but he did end up with 217 votes. A major complaint has been raised by Midwestern Republicans who fear that a bill to repeal tax credits for biofuels such as ethanol would deal a major blow to heavily corn-growing areas in states such as Iowa. South Dakota Representative Dusty Johnson told Fox News on Tuesday that there are probably 7 or 8 lawmakers who are very concerned about the provision. House Republican leaders tweaked the bill overnight on Tuesday in order to ease these concerns. Republican Representative Randy Feenstra said on Wednesday after meeting with McCarthy that he would vote a firm yes, and Derek Van Orden said McCarthy had listened to the caucus, but other Republican lawmakers such as Nancy Mace of South Carolina and Tim Burchett of Tennessee said on Wednesday that they still oppose the bill. However, Mace ultimately voted for the bill, but Burchett voted against it. Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz complained that the bill was changed too hastily. He voted against the bill. The bill will be difficult to pass the Democratic-controlled Senate, and if it does, Biden said he will veto it. But Republicans hope the bill will make clear the GOP's position in talks with Democrats in the coming weeks. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson officially announced his candidacy for president in 2024 on Wednesday. The Republican lashed out at the Biden administration and said that he would get the economy back on track if elected. He said the Biden administration had turned its back on the American worker. To turn our economy around, we have to stop the break-the-bank federal spending that has led to high inflation and rising interest rates. Hutchinson criticized the Biden administration's decision to withdraw troops from Afghanistan in 2021 as a disastrous move. He also said, "We left our friends abandoned and our allies confused. America looked weak, and that weakness was seen as an opportunity for Russia to invade Ukraine and then for China to threaten and be aggressive toward Taiwan." In terms of law enforcement, Hutchinson accused the Biden administration of not being tough enough in fighting crime and of a flagrant disrespect for human dignity and the rule of law. In terms of foreign policy, he opposes isolationism. He said isolationism only leads to weakness, and weakness leads to war. Americans want peace, and the best way to secure and preserve peace is to have the most prepared military in the world. Earlier this month, Hutchinson decided to enter the race for the Republican presidential nomination. However, the official announcement of his candidacy was only made just yesterday. This campaign is about courage, Hutchinson said. He added, "It's about making the tough decisions to rebuild our economy, to give peace a chance through America's strength, and to renew the American spirit of freedom, opportunity, and the rule of law. And we've got our work cut out for us." Hutchinson, who is 72, stepped down from office in January after 8 years as Arkansas governor. In recent months, he has been perhaps one of the most outspoken critics of President Trump among Republicans. He previously called on President Trump to withdraw from the election, but yesterday he did not name President Trump. He said, "I'm confident that America is ready to seek new frontiers and that we are ready to channel the restless ways of our democracy into more freedom and more prosperity for those who follow after us." However, President Trump told Breitbart News exclusively earlier this month that he believes the movement supporting his 2024 comeback campaign is even stronger than the one that backed him in 2016. On Wednesday, April 26, Disney theme parks and resorts sued Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and the oversight board that he established. Disney has accused DeSantis of engaging in a targeted campaign of government retaliation as punishment for Disney's protected speech. The complaint reads, "At the governor's bidding, the state's oversight board has purported to void publicly noticed and duly agreed development contracts, which had laid the foundation for billions of Disney's investment dollars and thousands of jobs." The dispute between Disney and the Florida government began when Disney bowed to pressure from LGBT activists and publicly opposed the governor's parental education rights law. The legislation was dubbed the Don't Say Gay Act by its critics. DeSantis on Thursday broke his silence on the lawsuit during a press conference in Israel. DeSantis said, "I don't think the suit has merit. I think it's political." Speaking to reporters in Jerusalem, DeSantis said that the special privileges that had been granted to Disney were not good for the state of Florida. DeSantis also said, "We don't think that should continue, so we now have brought accountability." A DeSantis spokesperson issued a statement shortly after news of the lawsuit broke on Wednesday. The statement said, "We are unaware of any legal right that a company has to operate its own government or maintain special privileges not held by other businesses in the state. This lawsuit is yet another unfortunate example of their hope to undermine the will of the Florida voters and to operate outside the bounds of the law. Another DeSantis spokesperson tweeted, "There's no legal right to corporate welfare." A whistleblower who testified before the House of Representatives on April 26 alleged that the U.S. government acts as a middleman in international child trafficking. Tara Rodas, the whistleblower, is a federal employee who dealt directly with trafficked children while working at a processing center in Sonoma, California. At the processing center, she discovered that the program was merely a front for a massive smuggling ring that is driven by Mexican drug cartels. In 2021, Joe Biden called federal workers and told them that Spanish speakers were needed urgently at the border. Rodas is the wife of a Spanish-speaking immigrant. So she volunteered and she agreed to answer Biden's call because it was for children. Rodas noted that things were calm at the beginning. The number of illegal immigrant children coming to the facility were relatively low, a few hundred max. However, migrant children began flooding the Sonoma site and other processing facilities. According to official statistics, the number of unaccompanied alien children who arrive at the border has swelled from 33,239 in 2020 to more than 146,000 in 2021 and 152,000 in 2022. In addition, over time, Rodas noted serious ethical concerns about how migrant children were sent to questionable sponsors. Eventually, Rodas said that she realized that in prioritizing speed over safety for children, the Department of Health and Human Services, the HHS, may have enabled and facilitated a massive cartel human smuggling operation. She testified in the hearing that I discovered that children are being trafficked through a sophisticated network that begins with recruiting in their home country, smuggled to the U.S. border, and it ends when Office of Refugee Settlement delivers a child to a sponsor. Some sponsors are criminals and traffickers and members of transnational criminal organizations. So she called for greater oversight and transparency from HHS, including from the Office of the Inspector General, and she called for the stopping of retaliation against whistleblowers and for an end to a culture of speed over safety. She also called for a requirement that sponsors should have to report to the Office of Refugee Resettlement. In an interview with the Epoch Times, Rodas broke down the situation. She explained that drug trafficking requires cartels to track and protect the product from the point of origin in Central America to the end user in the United States. However, border checks and customs cause cartel to lose huge amounts of drugs. And it's also possible that a lot can go wrong even after the drugs are imported. She said, but now they don't have to worry about losing any product as they cross the border because the U.S. is taking their product and protecting it. Rodas also referenced a leaked conference call with HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra. Becerra suggested that the processing of children and the getting them out of the facilities was by design. Becerra said needs to be like an assembly line, emphasizing quick results and turnover. But it wasn't just HHS that prioritized speed over safety because many security failures would not have been possible without directives from the White House. Rodas also says that more than 90% of children's sponsors were in the country illegally with no criminal background papers, and neither the FBI, Department of Homeland Security, nor HHS assisted case managers in vetting sponsors. In December of 2022, Senator Ron Johnson, in a letter to Becerra, accused HHS of knowingly transferring migrant children to criminals and sex traffickers on the basis of allegations by Rodas and others. But Becerra's agency has apparently ignored the letter. Many Democrats have also claimed since President Trump left office that supporting illegal immigration was compassionate or humanitarian. However, Rodas said we are creating a victim population. These children are being exploited, extorted, abused, neglected. There is nothing humanitarian about this. And that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for your support of Front Page. Please remember that every like, comment, and share helps more people to see the truth. We've also heard from many of our viewers that they don't get notifications of our videos anymore from YouTube. So please follow us on Telegram, Gab, Getter, True Social, and on Ganjing World for the latest updates. Okay, this is our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you heard today, please don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and family, because everybody deserves to know the truth. Again, thank you for watching Front Page, and we will see you next time.